Let's do this. Let's start with just a couple of takeaways from VIP. So we had did three days of VIP. It's not too late. If you end up wanting the replays of that and the worksheets, you can get that. So we've got a replay page. We got the whole workbook download. And I'd love to get some takeaways from those of you that have been in VIP. What did you guys learn this week that maybe would be of value to everyone else who's on the call? Tomorrow. Camille?
Okay.
Please, go for it.
Thanks. Yesterday in VIP, you acknowledged that we can often talk about our topic in a seminar, maybe in a one-on-one session, but when it comes to writing a book, it's really hard. And I was so glad because you're the first book coach manager, well, I don't know your title, but you're the first one I've heard to finally acknowledge that, because that's always been my secret struggle. And I thought, okay, it's probably just me. Why can't I just whip out a book? But I can talk on stage all day long, anytime, on the spot about it. This is so hard. So that lifted a huge burden off of me when I heard you say that. So thank you.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, it is. And then the discipline to write a book and sit down and organize your thoughts is so valuable.
Yeah, I've got the organizing my thoughts. Thank you.
Yeah, that's right. I'll tell you, the funny thing for me is it's easier for me to write a chapter of a book than it is to write a social media post, oddly enough. I'm better at long form content than I am at short form content. Okay, other takeaways from VIP? Our VIP people, Marilyn, where'd you go with your camera? We got, there you are. She's coming. Oh, I caught her at lunch.
I put my camera on so you didn't have to all watch me chew food.
Thank you. I'd love your takeaway, if you will, in just a minute. Let me give the other Marilyn. Marilyn, are you willing to share? You had a great takeaway.
Sure. What I think is so exciting is that, first of all, I waited because people kept telling me for decades to write a book, and I never could figure out why. And I feel like now I have all of the elements kind of like all together. I know what shifted me and everything else, and I'm excited to see, well, what's the book going to really be about it? Because I really don't know. So just the whole process, it is exciting to think about that I'll have something that will be significant, not just, oh, that's great, that's a wonderful story. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right, Marilyn.
Okay, so you want me to repeat kind of what I said in the other one?
That'd be fantastic.
Okay, so my biggest takeaway yesterday with the inner journey worksheet or process was I didn't really think I had these pain moments that pivoted me or started me on this plan to inspire people to the level I hope to inspire them. But so I started writing down what pain moments did I have in life somewhat along this journey. And I noticed when I wrote every one of them down, and there was, I don't know, at a quick glance, maybe 12 of them, every one of them was loss in identity. And so when I realized there was a theme across it, and then I realized what I'm writing about, and I'm writing about for the healthcare provider to be able to go from the heart's desire to their identity, because it's gotten so clouded and lost in the profession that they've entered, including myself. Oh, hold on, Jim, you got to turn the volume off. Sorry, Jim just joined me in this room.
Same room.
You just got to turn.
I'm not sure I know how to do that.
Hold on, just close this for a second.
Down.
That's her father-in-law.
That's my father-in-law.
Yeah, I'm getting in the way.
Okay.
All right, it's up.
So yeah, so I was, can you guys still hear me okay?
You're down.
Okay, so then when I realized that it was lost identity, and then I already wrote this down before I even did this exercise, that I was writing about bringing somebody's heart's desire into the right identity, and that it got clouded over the time of entering the profession. I was like, oh, I really have something that's relatable and emotional. It actually just gave me chills, like total chills, confirmation, that my inner journey was all continual moments of loss of identity. And now I can relate to these people because I actually did it.
Incredible epiphany. It's incredible. Now, Jim, we've got sound issues. Anybody else want to share? Jim, do you want to share? You'll have to figure out how to work the sound issues to do that. And any of you, you don't have to been in EVIP. What are you guys learning so far from this? Anyone wants to share? You can either just unmute yourself and start speaking, or raise your hand and pop yourself up.
I was going to say that I've spent years in the finance world, and finding an accountant that was a team.
Okay, you can hear me now?
Pause.
Yep. Hold on. We'll come back to you, Jim. Just a second. Annie's going.
I found the power of a team. A CPA that has a team behind them. If they don't know something, they gather the wisdom. And that's throughout this whole week. I knew that's what it would be coming in here. The power of a team. It's not just one person. It's this whole group that comes around with purpose, all heading you in the direction of your goal. And that's so powerful. And I'm really excited I landed here.
Yay. Thank you for sharing that. And in just a minute, you're going to meet the team. I thought we'd officially introduce at least the core part of the team. And I see I've lost one of them. I don't know where Kim went, but we'll get her back in a minute. Jim, what's your big takeaway from this week? Because I heard you've got a good one. Now we got to unmute him, Marilyn.
Use these things. Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, thank you. I love seeing your smiles, everybody. Yeah, I'm really excited about this, and I've had 7 books in my head for 20 years, and it's time to go. And we're out of
We've broken their bandwidth, haven't we, gang?
Yeah, and found the problems and beginning to get rid of them. So that's really good, and bring a place of faith. My daughter and son-in-law are going to help me. My daughter's really sharp, and she said, I said, aren't you writing a book too? She's going to come to the one day. I said, aren't you writing a book too? She says, yes, but God told me to help you first. I'm like, wow, that's big. Yeah,
Wow.
she's 50. She's a go-getter. So a lot of good things happening. We're looking so forward to seeing you all in September.
Very cool. Thank you. Anyone else want to share? Or any takeaways? Anyone?
I'll just add that I think that this process can really help you get clarity on what you should be doing in your business. So it really helps focus with where you should be going in your business. And I think it's the future looking lens that makes this so helpful.
Yeah. Thanks, Lisa. You had a great share in that about that a minute ago. So I appreciate you adding it here too. Paul has been quiet. Peaceful Paul here has been quiet the whole time. Please unmute yourself and share.
Yeah, I'm breaking the silence barrier. My takeaway is I feel like I just took off with Ed and his F-18. But that's a good thing because I love flying, and I'm a veteran, so I've liked Ed Rush from the start. But who doesn't like Ed Rush from the start, you know? And I guess I watched his online Zoom a couple years ago, maybe it's been now, of the God Talks thing. I guess it was before his book was out. But so I've been getting emails from him, but I haven't really attended any. I wished I could have gone to that when it was out in Oregon, and I was thinking of riding my Harley out for that, but I wasn't quite up to that long of a ride. So then I just settled for doing it online. But I'm really leaning towards trying to come to this one. I guess, you know, how I got interested in this particular event of his is because it's about book writing. Well, I'm a retired police officer. I've been working at a community college. So my book's going to be a lot about my experiences. I think an audience will be police officers, but it won't just be that, because I'm also involved in ministry, have been even part-time when I was still a police officer. And so my audience is going to be more than just police officers. But the Lord told me over a year ago to write a book, and then more recently he gave me the title for it. So all of a sudden I get an email from Ed Rush about book writing. So that's why I'm here, and it's kind of overwhelming because I don't know nothing about book writing, but I'm excited to. Obviously, you guys know a lot about it, so everything to gain by coming, or if I have to settle for online. But either way, I'm gonna get, and then I guess the journey just starts there, according to this trail. You 6 month a year-long trail, but I like adventures. I've been on quite a few of them already in my life. So here we go.
Thank you for sharing that. So fun fact, on Sunday, my youngest daughter, she's 21, she is engaged, and we went to her fiance's police academy graduation. He graduated from the police academy, and he got sworn in for he went to the police academy through IU, Indiana University, and he got sworn in as a university cop now for this final semester of
Great.
college. So
Great.
yeah,
Great.
so I know that world a little bit about it. So
Yeah.
your book. Okay, I want to introduce our team. Tracy, stay right there, if you will, for a minute. But I want to first introduce our team because we're going to lose a couple people because it's back to school season and a couple of our moms have to go. Can you guys raise your hand too? So Kim, Nadia, let me introduce our team. There we go. And Joy. Oh no, Joy, down below, there's a button that says raise your hand somewhere if you can find it, and then people will find you. Then that way it's easier. Just put you all top row. So up first, I want to introduce Kim Han. So Kim is the client success coach and project manager for all of our authors. So Kim is, we're all, by the way, in Lafayette, Indiana, all of our team right here. Kim's been with me for a little over 5 years now, and we've really built this business up together. So she's a dear friend of mine, and we've had a good time. But Kim is the person who holds your hand through the entire process. So there are about 11 people that are involved in the process, and Kim's job is to make sure everybody is in the right place at the right time, so that you're only worried about the things you need to worry about right now, and you're not worried about all of the details that really you don't need to worry about it. And then and then she then has an assistant, brand new to our team for about, we're gonna say 74 days. Is that what it is? Yeah, is Joy. Joy wave physically now. So Joy Fisher just joined our group. She's the newest member of our team. And that's just because we're growing. And so Kim and Joy together are managing the client experience. Next to Kim is Nadia, at least on my screen. Nadia is our operations manager, and the other half of my brain, a third of it, because Kimberly you're going to meet too. But Nadia has been with us for a little over 3 years. This fall will be 4. And Nadia helps me. She runs the operations side of things. So when I say we need more editors, or when we know we need more editors or proofreaders or whatnot, she's out there finding all of our partners, bringing them in, certifying them through our process, and training them up, make sure they understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how unique we are. So I love Nadia. So thank you. And then Kimberly joined us a little over a year ago. We just celebrated her 1-year anniversary. Kimberly, to say she's my executive assistant diminishes all the things that she does. But we're a small team, so we cross a lot of lines. But Kimberly has been with me for a year, and she has whipped me into shape. And we have figured out how to manage all of the emails coming up. So I know a lot of you have emailed us, and a lot of times if you email me, it's actually Kimberly who's helping me, because it's no longer manageable for me to have direct contact with so many people. And so Kimberly's helping that. So this is the mighty team. And I want to thank you, Annie. You called out a minute ago that, yeah, you get a team. We also have 19 contracted. It's probably more than that now, Nadia. I don't know. I always say 19. It's probably broken the, yeah, well, you just added what, 3 editors?
Yeah, we just added 3 more. So whatever that puts up to now, I need to recount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
All the experts that come in from Michael Haig and Dena, who you're going to meet in just a minute, and all of the expert coaches we have, our editors, our proofreaders, our designers, and our audiobook partner, all of the people in this process, that's Nadia's role, to make sure all of them meet our standards and take great care of our clients on this journey. But this is our core team. How many of you have never hired your first employee? there was a day I was terrified. I wrote about this a few months ago to hire my first employee. I never thought I would be capable of that. And so Annie, yesterday, bless you, you brought up at the end of the call that a lot of what you're seeing here can look and feel very intimidating. And I just want to assure you that, as a friend of mine I read said once, don't compare your beginning to my middle, right? You're going to meet Dena here in a minute as well. Dena was my mindset coach before. I don't think I had an employee yet, Dena, when I did, right? I didn't know how to do this. I just knew I was called to do this. And I asked Dena to be my mindset and business coach to help me figure this out on this journey, because I knew I was called to do something bigger. And hiring my first employee was terrifying. And now, Van, look at this amazing team, and look, you all are here because I just I had the courage to say, okay, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to trust that I can get the right people in the room to help me. I am not an expert on, I told you all, I have a degree in design, but I have a passion to serve, and I have surrounded myself with incredible people. So that's probably a great way for me to segue into meeting or introducing Dena. Tracy, are we okay if we go into Dena and then come back to your question in a little bit? Is that okay?
Sure, sure.
Hey,
Thank you.
Nicole, I think that
Yeah.
you've been faithful to do the next right thing in the last 6 years that I've known you. You know, you just do the next right thing.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. These people are amazing and honest, and Kim will be the first one to call me up and tell me if there's something that I need to work on. And I really, really appreciate that. She does that for our clients too. We're very honest with our clients. I tell people Kim will laugh with you, cry with you. She'll hold you accountable to your goals, your dreams, and your deadlines. And she'll even pray with you when you need. And we've got clients who've needed a lot of prayer through this process. And that's important. And so we recognize that this isn't easy work, and we don't believe you should do it alone. And so we have a 97% success rate. 97% of our authors write and publish their book in a year or less. That is unheard of in this industry, unheard of. And it's because of these guys right here. And the way we work. Nadia runs the details of our whole project management system, but we know where every client is in every process, and we meet every week and we go through every client name and we make sure everybody's doing okay. So thank you, team. You're awesome. Joy, welcome to the family. It's great to have you. So, all right, let's jump in. Dena, I'm going to spotlight you and bring you up. I think that's a great way to introduce you. Spotlight. There we go. Y'all, I want you to meet my good friend, coach, partner in this, the one woman I would trust if I needed to step aside and have people coach you. Dena is the woman I would trust to do that. And she helped me so much when I was battling with insecurity, fear, as she calls it, smallness thinking. And Dena, you've just been incredible. I got a chance to help you with your book, and with a lot of this business, you helped me build together, and you've been with us. I was thrilled when I started realizing that the smallest things that I battled with in growing my own business, right, our authors also battled with. And so if you see our process, once we know what your book is about, and once your outline is set, the first person you're going to meet with after you set goals with Kim is Dena. And we want to give you some identity work. We want to talk to you about your mindset and give you some framework and some things to ground yourself in, so that every time you sit down to write, you are writing from your greatness. You have some thought work that you've done to realize who you are becoming, not just who you've been in the past, because we want you writing to the person that you're becoming, the business that you're building, and the mission that you're called to achieve. So Dena, my friend, speak to that.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me. What an amazing journey this has been. As your coach, and then me being a client of this process and getting my book done, and now being inside of this amazing process. I have seen you grow, and the CEO you've become, the publisher you've become. This process is unlike any other publisher on the planet who literally signs you up and hopes that you get your book done. And when you ask their success rate, it's more in the 30%, 40%, maybe 50%. And the fact that they, Nicole says, we don't let our clients fail. We will get your book done. And there's a process to that, which I just really appreciate. If you know anything about writing a book, you can get really derailed and distracted and deflated, and old demons show up and say you can't do it. And so all those things, they have a person or a process to help you through that. So it's just been awesome to be your friend and be part of this this growth of this company, and to help so many authors package their gifts and their greatness and their bold promises and get them out in the world, which is what lights me up. That is why I'm on this planet, and you do it through a book. So I love it.
Okay. All right. So I want to do two things today with you while we're here. So the first thing is I want people to understand your author journey, right?
Okay.
So in the VIP session, we haven't talked a lot about it here. In the VIP session on we went heavily into this on day 2. We talked about the 10 different publishing strategies, and that there are really 4 that are good for business. There's a signature book, there's a niche book, and there's an inspirational gift book. The inspirational gift book model and strategy was born out of this book. And what happened with you and this idea and how it came together. And so I want to talk about this book. I also want to acknowledge Victoria's on this call. And Victoria has a unique challenge that she wants to write to young girls and young women, right? So there's some interesting things that we had to achieve with your book here.
Yeah.
So I want to help people understand like your book, how it came together, what we're doing here with your book, and how you've used it and what's happened.
Yeah. So I love that you just brought her up, and that, I think that all the thoughts that you have about your book, what it can do for you, what it can become, what it can do for your audience, what do you want to activate them in? What do you want to transform them in? I mean, there's like all these overwhelming thoughts. And what's so cool about this process is, between me and Kim and Nicole and everybody that's part of this, we help take those ideas and see if they are aligned in your book. And one of the things that I was really confused on, I had been a co-author. If you've ever, done a collaboration book, I did that, but I never written my book. And when I met Nicole, I was writing a long, complicated mindset psychology book. And what I realized, and this is coining Nicole, I was writing the wrong book. And what I realized was my target market is very busy. It is a business owner, world-changing business owner, leader, CEO. They don't have time for a big old long book. And I thought, oh gosh, how do I inspire them and activate them and design this to be on brand for me and make it a small book? And that's where I kind of got inspired by other small books like The 4 Agreements, a couple other books like that huge impact on the world, and they were small books. So I thought, I'm going with a small book. The strategy of this was activate them enough, inspire them enough to be intrigued and say, oh my gosh, I love her style of writing. I like her. I trust her. That's our books need to build that like and trust. But also, I wanted the strategy. I've been a speaker for 11 years. At the time, I had been speaking for about 5 years. So my book is 6 years old, but I integrated into, I speak on 4 to 5 stages a month, 4 to 7 stages a month. My book is like it came out yesterday. It is a huge part of my brand. I sell a lot of them at my speaking engagements. I incorporated it into all of my coaching clients. So it's a very incorporated thing. But something that Nicole just said about her is, I own a nonprofit called the Girls Rule Foundation. It is my heart work, my philanthropy. It's where my time and money goes to empowerment and leadership programs for girls. And I knew I wanted to incorporate that somehow. And you guys, it's okay not knowing the answers. You figure it out through conversation, through coaching, you figure that out. And you're like, how do I incorporate this? So 2 things I did to incorporate it into my book. One, in my bio, I say, it says, Dena's the co-founder of girlsrulefoundation.org, 501c3, where $1 of these books, $1 donation goes to the organization. So I do a gift and it tags the book in there. I mean, sorry, the organization in there. And then I also dedicated a chapter to girls and girls development. So those are 2 little ways, but very effective ways I incorporated my heart work inside of my book. And I cannot tell you how many people have come up to me over the years saying, I found out about Girls Rule through your book, then I went to the website and then, you know, and boom, they have this relationship with the organization. So, or they become a donor or they become a volunteer. So it's been, you know, these little inspirations that you get. I was just talking to an author this morning where we want to incorporate some teaching, some engagement in his book. So what we came up with is adding a QR code twice in the book that goes to a 5-minute video of deeper teaching of that chapter. What does that do? Creates now a video of you is way engaging versus a page, right? And now they're on the website, they're having this deeper training. And then from the video, they can tell them maybe somewhere else to go. So again, just incorporating an idea, it might just be a little seed like, ooh, I want to do something more engaging in my book. We brainstorm, boom, 2 QR codes to a deeper training. Great idea. But one thing I would say more about that, Nicole, the biggest thing, yes, it brings clients. Yes, it absolutely positions me as a mindset and mental toughness brand and person. But when I was speaking, before my book came out, I was charging $1,000 to $1,500 speaking. I was, you know, in the first few years. And what my book does, what your book will do for you is open doors you never thought could open. Stages, to conferences, to people, to your champagne client. You know, sending a book. I have a beautiful box. I send my book in and I send a handwritten note to someone I want to be introduced to or that I want to know. It's a great gift that opens doors. But today I charge $5,000 to $7,000 per speech. And that is because what my book has done for my brand and my reputation and authority.
So what was interesting about Dena's, this is fun. Can I talk about the content?
Yeah.
So Dena's book is an example of an inspirational gift book model, which works a lot like a devotional, right? So the challenge that we had with Dena's book was she had 2 very different audiences. So she's got her Girls Rule Foundation. So she's got an audience of young tween girls. She's also got these executive 6- and 7-figure women that also, right? And so how do you write a book to both audiences, which Victoria, was your question, like, how do you satisfy that? So the answer was short form content, right? So, now Dena, what Dena has in here, I don't remember if it's like about 100
yeah, coaching
short
tips.
Coaching tips, and they're divided into 5 sections. So there's a section on marriage, so the young girls can skip that section. Dena, my favorite part of this is how you use it for coaching clients. Would you please tell, like, those of you who are business coaches, like when you write a book, listen to this tip because it's just brilliant.
So I incorporate the book into my speaking a couple ways, and I incorporate it into my coaching. Part of my onboard, I am a big advocate that you have a really good onboarding process as a service provider. And once someone says, yeah, I want to work with you or this program or whatnot, part of my onboarding process is sending them the book. So I sign it, again, a note in the box, send it to them. The homework is to read it before our first session. What that does is it literally, for me to coach them, everything that I want to say in the book would take 3 or 4 weeks. They just got it in the book. So before our first session, they have the context of my coaching. They have some good inspiration. But one of the pieces of the homework I say is I want you to choose 5 pages. I don't care if you like the rest of the book or not, trash it. All I care is 5 pages that absolutely just bam, landed for you and just called to you. Those are the 5 pages I want you to bring to the first session. What that piece of homework did was absolutely help me. I'm all about impact and transformation. It helps me get my clients moving their train of transformation and impact and get them in the breakthroughs they need so much more faster. But also they come into the coaching session 1 with a relationship with me. Instead of 1 and 2 being awkward and you're getting to know each other, they're like, I got your number. I mean, I read your book. I know who you are and what you stand for, right? So there's a relationship there. They've done some work already. And then the 5 pages, how I weave that into their coaching, whether they're with me for 1 month or 2 years, those 5 pages serve as their coach when they're not with me. So I have that, I make a 1 sheet, and those are the 5, like Nicole said, it's 100 coaching tips that I give them. And it's their 5, and it's a 1 sheet. And I say, when you're not with me, you need some activation or information or accountability, you're looking at your 5 pages. And so it just is it's just a tool, but it's something that's just, these are the little things that you can incorporate. And guess what? Once someone reads your book, well, hopefully this is the point. They read their book, they become a fan, and then they refer you, to other people. So I have a lot of because of this strategy, and I say at really any book that people like, they're going to buy more of them for their friends, their clients, their employees. One of the strategies I liked about this small book is most people buy 5 to 10 copies. So at my speaking engagements, they're buying, the average is 10 copies because they bring it back to their team, or they give it to clients as a gift. So that has really worked.
Yeah. Which is one of the hallmarks of why an inspirational gift book strategy is a really cool strategy. I also want to shout out, because this is so fun. Your daughter, how old was your daughter at the time?
10.
10. So her daughter had these little doodlings. She's like, is there a way we could incorporate them? I'm like, you bet, right? Because again, her daughter was one of her target audiences. So her daughter made us these doodlings. Yeah. And so the whole book has her little doodles in here. And then her images on the back. How old is she now, Dena?
16.
Yeah. And Dena became a best-selling author, and her daughter became a best-selling book illustrator, which is
really cool.
Just really cool.
Yes, and it's on her resume. She is an artist now. People pay for her art. She had to, at 10 years old, I wanted it really, really whimsical. The feeling of this book is whimsical. I wanted it to be light and inspirational. So she's like, Mom, really, you're asking me to dumb down this was so elementary. I had to really dumb down her illustrations because she's a brilliant artist. But I want to just read you the first quote in my book, because I think it will make a difference for you guys. And this is why her bird theme is throughout the book. It goes like this: a bird sitting on a tree is never afraid of the branch breaking, because her trust is not on the branch, but on her own wings. And that quote just changed my life when I first heard it. And it's in the front of my book. And that's why the bird theme is the illustrations. But it's so profound. And I want to challenge you guys in this process, whether you move forward with Niche Press or not, this journey of your trust. I think we all land on a branch and we just trust that branch, and all of our trust is on the branch, when the trust should be in your own wings. And when that shift happens, your whole life changes. Trust your wings. And in this context, trust that you have a book in you that is dying to come out. And what I always say is our businesses are a delivery platform for our gifts and our greatness. That is what our businesses are for. And what, in my opinion, books are for, is to get your gifts and greatness. It's not about you. Speaking isn't about you. Books aren't about you. God uses us in that way, but we're the messenger. But your book is about transforming or inspiring or educating people. It's about them. And it takes courage to say, I'm going to put my gifts and greatness in this book, and I'm going to get it out in the world. It takes vulnerability, and it takes courage, and it takes greatness to do that. And that's why you have a whole team to support you and a process that works and gets your book out there. So, and trust me, if I didn't have a process and deadlines and help, I don't know if I would have gotten my book done, right? We're all busy and life gets crazy. So.
Yeah. Well, and in fact, we know you had, when you talked about this book, you actually had a contract on a bulky
Yes.
book, right? You
I
still,
did.
I assume, have a done for you. Yeah, you have a contract somewhere out there on somebody who didn't make sure you got that book done.
Nope.
Yeah. So that she had paid for, and a lot of money. You had paid a lot of money for it. Yeah. So yeah, team matters. There's two ways we could go. Dena, this audience, we talked to Annie, was good yesterday and just brought up a lot of people that we talked to are feeling like, I'm not ready. I don't know if I can do that. I'd love for you just to keep speaking to, like, help them to think about their identity work that they need to do. To give them a dose of what you do for our authors when they're moving into the writing phase.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, and wait, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to step down while you teach them for a bit. And then once you're done, I'm going to open it up. So we're going to go to gala reviews so that everybody can, if they want to ask you some questions, we can do that. So.
Okay. Great. So my book, my coaching, I have been a business and mindset coach for 23 years. I have coached thousands of people, all one-on-one. And I really wanted to impact more people, and which is why I speak and why I did my book. And I have this passion around mental toughness, mental resiliency, greatness mindset, mastering our mindset. And it took me about 15 years of my own education and learning about it and researching it. And there's lots of words around it, and there's lots of jargon around it, and it's a lot of psychology. And I really love making things simple. And I thought, how can I take this concept of getting stuck out of fear and the way we get stuck and limited, how can I make it accessible and easy for everybody and not have to, do 2 years of work around it? So I'll simplify it this way, is we were all born with a smallness mindset and a greatness mindset. You're born with it. They both have a job and a function in our brains. And that smallness mindset is all about your safety and survival and comfort. And anything that scares that or threatens that, its job is to get you to believe it and not your big, bold greatness. So smallness is its whole job is to keep you away from scary, vulnerable, big, risky things, which writing a book might occur like that, right? And so its job is like, no, you're not ready. No, you're not perfect. Oh my God, you don't have that degree yet. Oh my God, you're from the wrong family. Don't write a book, right? Whatever it is, its job is to feed you that smallness. But here's the problem. That smallness thought becomes your smallness belief, which is your limiting belief, which then becomes your smallness habits, which becomes your smallness results until we learn how to come out of agreement with it. And here's the essence of my work is limiting beliefs only have power because we believe them. when you have the courage and the direction to come out of agreement with that smallness thought called, I'm not ready. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not the right person. I'm not skinny enough. I've heard them all, right? When you come out of agreement with that, it's taking that power back. And more importantly, it's taking your agreement back. And then you put your agreement to something else called, I am ready. I am learning how. I do have the right support. I can do this. The mind has to believe something. So you can't just go, oh, I don't believe that. The mind has to believe something. So you're believing your smallness or you're believing your greatness. Here's the most awesome, news I can give you. You get to choose. But no one tells us we get to choose because it's the automatic psyche of our brain. Like, I felt punked when I first learned this. I was like, wait a minute. I get to choose those thoughts or not? I could turn those smallness, volume down and listen to my greatness. Like, what? So that, in essence, I am making this as short as and sweet as possible. But that smallness thought, there's one or two that have been disempowering you your whole life. There's a pattern because that's how we are. It's, I'm not perfect, or I'm too dumb, or I can't do it. Whatever your smallness narrative is, message is, it's been there most of your life. The invitation I give you is to give yourself permission to come out of agreement with it. I don't believe that anymore. That is not my truth anymore. I'm taking my agreement back and I'm going to put it on this new agreement. And here's the thing. My smallness doesn't sound like your smallness. My greatness doesn't sound like your greatness. We all have to have our greatness agreements, right? And we have to understand what my smallness doesn't sound like yours. So my coaching would be creating some new greatness agreements, statements that you can believe every day. How do we master our mindset? Is we start to believe new things, and our thoughts, right, shape our actions, our habits, and those are what give us our results. So if you want different results in your money, in your brand, in your business, in your relationships, you got to start with your thoughts, your beliefs, right? And really take the courage it takes to look at your limiting beliefs and say, whoa, this belief has been around for 30 years. And I am giving myself permission to come out of agreement with it. It does not serve me for where I am going. I have way more failures than I do successes. I start businesses, I start nonprofits, I do events, and some huge failures. But here's the thing, we know better, we do better. Maybe you've started a book, or maybe you already, published a book and it was an epic failure, or a business that was a failure. Okay. Now what? Now what are you going to believe? Are you going to allow that smallness statement of like, no, you're a loser, you're a failure? It gets really nasty in our heads. Are you going to keep believing that? How long are you going to keep believing that? Today, I'm giving you an invitation to come out of agreement with that and say, I'm creating a new belief, right? And that new belief creates new thoughts, creates new actions, new habits, new results. So that's very small amount of training on that. But one of the things I do with all the authors is teach them that. But we actually create their greatness statements. And then out of the one book, you've talked a lot about what Nicole does with you is creating that 1-page book strategy, the 9 questions, because planning your book is a big part of this. I've met so many people going, oh, I wrote a book, I'm writing a book, I have 100 pages. And I'm like, yeah, but what's your strategy? How is this aligning to your brand and to the future self of you? And that's what we want to create is we want to write into the future and create this future you faster. And I know that doesn't all the way make sense, but here's the down low. If you're going to invest in a book, it takes time, money, and energy. All I can say is this has brought me hundreds of thousands of dollars between speaking stages and clients and whatnot. So was it worth it? Yes. But here's the thing. I wrote a book that wouldn't I don't want to outrun my book. I don't want my book to be irrelevant in 1 or 2 years. You want this book to last 5, 6, 7, maybe beyond years for your brand. So part of what I want to inspire you to do and what the sessions I do with the authors is we pull out into your business. What does your business look like in 3 years? What do you dream of in 3 years? So that we can use that information to inspire you because you want this book to last. You don't want to write a book and invest all this time, money, and energy, and then it's totally irrelevant in a year. Trust me, it happens all the time. And it's why is because they didn't do the planning and the strategy to help have this book as a tool, as a building block for the next 6 years of your business. And that's, I think, what Nicole's really brilliant at. And her one-page planning is, oh man, it's so juicy. One, it's going to inspire the heck out of you, but it also gives you certainty. Because I don't know about you guys, but I didn't start this journey certain. You know, it's through the process of planning and strategy that you get more and more certain around what stories am I going to tell? What's the direction of my book? What are things that I'm going to put in? You know, one of the things that I put in at the back of my book is 2 pages of action. So I say, now, you know, let's move your new thoughts to action. And it's 2 pages of like worksheet, because I want people to apply, right? That's the kind of coach I am. I'm like, let's get this real in your life, application, action. So, you know, that's something that came out of the planning. I don't want to just give new thoughts. Let's move them and apply this. So those are the kind of things that kind of come out. I mean, lots of things come out of it, but those are the little things that you're going to do, you know, if you plan your book right. But what I know about mindset is you never outsell or outperform your mindset. If you are in smallness thinking, that is where you are selling from. That is where you are living from. That is where you're leading from. Your life completely changes when you think, act, lead, live, sell from a greatness mindset. Because like I said, our businesses, your speaking, your book isn't for you. You're being used, but it's about helping other people. And that's what this journey is about. It's like getting yourself out of your own way, writing from greatness, pouring all this awesome greatness that you have into this book so that you can inspire and activate and transform the people that you're meant to serve. You know, none of us are meant to serve the entire world. You know, people find you. And one of the things that this book has done is help people find me. You know, we sit in our houses or our offices, and yes, we work on our marketing, but books are such a great way for people to find you. And books are such a great way to get on podcasts and speaking, again, for people to find you. Because what you are seeking is seeking you. There's people out there dying for your book information, but you haven't written it yet. So your smallness will avoid this forever. And your greatness faces it. What I say is smallness avoids it, greatness faces it. And it's up to you to change or not. And here's the thing, it's not about right or wrong. If you want to believe your smallness and stay in your smallness, listen, I spent 27 years in my smallness. And I built my first business in smallness. I had a PR and marketing agency in New York City, all in my smallness. So you can live a life of smallness, but I'm telling you, it is so different than living a life and leading and transforming and inspiring people from our greatness. So I'm going to stop there.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Hopefully that was helpful.
Yeah, Olive says so empowering. Yes, thank you. At this point, if you guys want to, raise your hand, there's a little thing in your bar below. So there's a couple pages of us. So if you want to raise your hand, we'll find you faster and ask a question of Dena. I think you see why she get a dose of that before you sit down and start writing your book. It's good stuff, man. Dena helped me. I'll just say this because maybe some of you share this. So I'll share this. Dena helped me. I used to do what she called spinning. She'd say, Nicole, you're spinning. Tell them what spinning is, and then we'll bring Olive up for her question.
It's like ruminating, spinning, and it's a smallness habit. It's I say clarity moves the train, confusion derails the train. Confusion makes you spin and ruminate. And it's a very disempowering state of being, state of mind. And you could ruminate on things for hours or weeks or even years and not get to a decision, a clarity. And there's a reason why just do it is, a $1 billion logo saying, just do it. Confidence comes from movement. If you are just sitting and ruminating and spinning, especially in smallness thoughts, you won't go anywhere. And there's a saying, validation is for parking, not for people. You do not need validation, especially someone else's validation, to do a book. You can give yourself permission. For me, I had to battle some of my smallness to give myself permission to do a book. It was for me, it was a pretty vulnerable decision. And I had to really come out of some smallness spinning for me to make a decision. But decisions and movements creates confidence. Sitting and spinning does not create confidence. I think we have all been there. So is it Olive? You have a question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I've just completed writing what I thought was writing my book. It's on how I got lupus and was healed from it. And I've been thinking throughout this whole week, how could I change that? That's such an important message. I have not been able to find one book about this particular topic. And so I'm kind of confused, and I'm thinking, okay, I could change it, but that message is so important to have in there. So I am confused right now.
So why do you want to change? Tell me the title again.
It's called Healed from Lupus, From Death to Life.
Okay, so why do you want to change that title?
No, well, because we were told earlier how, if you want to write a book, you don't necessarily write about the experience, but about where you're from, right? Where you're from today and where you want to be tomorrow. And so I am where I wanted to be, right? So I don't really know. I'm still now, but I'm really inspired about going in September. So just see if that gets answered for me when I'm there. But I love what you've been saying. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So Olive, you may have the exact right book, right? So there are rules, exceptions every rule, I said, right? And so in your case, your ideal reader has a problem. They have lupus and they want to know how you solved it. So a lot of times then the question I would have is like, have you structured the book in a way it's duplicatable for them, right? And then the question is, if they want to know more, have you got a business on the back end? What we're talking about here when we're building publishing strategies, our ideal clients are asking the question, how do I create a business and a movement, right? There are lots of books out there that aren't designed to do that, and people don't want to do that.
Right.
Right. So there's, in all of that gray area, there are lots of answers. You may have the perfect book, right?
Yeah.
Then the question would be like, are there ways you want to monetize it? Are there subtle tweaks that we might do that take it to the next level, right? Or make it more effective, right? How do you get it out there so more people get the message? Because that's critical. But it's totally okay
Yeah.
to write a book. And just that the search engine results on that. I tell you what, if I got a diagnosis like that, I'm searching the engine, or, I'm going to Google right away, and Amazon search results come up first. Like they come up early in the list, other than paid ads. So you will reach a lot of people with that book. So I don't want you to think you've got it wrong. You may have got it right for what you did. So.
All right. Thanks for saying that. That encourages me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to add this is, like I mentioned before, I started Girls Rule Foundation 16 years ago, and my partner in Girls Rule died of lupus. So we started a scholarship fund for her in our nonprofit, but lupus has a big thing in my, what I would say to that is you need to get that book out. That's what I would say to that. And bring, for anybody else that's questioning your title or your content or whatever, that's what Nicole's for. And this one-day workshop that she's talking about, you got to bring all your ideas, all your thoughts, and all your doubts. Bring all your doubts of like, I'm between 4 titles. Okay, bring it. That's what this is. That's why it's a workshop. So
Great.
thank you. Hi, beautiful Bobby.
Nita, you're getting lots of shouts out. I'm going to guess you know Bobby as well.
I do. Like, how many years, Bobby? Oh, you're on mute. Mute. You're on mute, love.
That's one thing you won't see me is without words, right?
That's right.
All right. My question is, I've just finished my book. It's a book about becoming a widow. Since I've become a widow twice now, I feel I can write this book. Anyway, the title is Widowhood, the Next Chapter. But my question is I really want to market it in the right direction, but I certainly don't want to go and visit funeral homes and, try to capture these people that have just lost their spouse. What can I do to really, where do I go and how do I promote it? I mean, you lose a spouse, you're reaching out, of course, but I want to let everybody know that there's so many things they're going to learn from this book. Not just the guidance of what to do and what you need to do, but it's stories of personal stories of what happened to what I went through. But I interviewed several other people, men and women, and I've got little tidbits of what helped them carry on. So the book is full of all kinds of stories and, things of that nature. But where do I go to promote it?
First thing I want to do real quick, Bobby, is I just want to acknowledge we're at the end of the hour. So thank you to everybody that needs to go. I'm sure some of you need to hop off, and I just want to thank you permission to do that. I dropped the link again if you want to join us. We'll talk more and we'll be more in depth about the workshop the next 2 days of the challenge. So if you want to learn more, onepagebookplan.com is the website for that. So thanks everybody, but we can stick around for a minute and continue to answer questions. So Bobby, is the book already published? Is it on Amazon?
Not yet. It's in the editor's hands.
Okay.
The next step is the publisher.
Nice. Okay. So you have time if adjustments need to be made. So in the VIP session, we talked about this, that one of the big mistakes authors make is they don't understand a lot of the marketing decisions are baked into the plan before we write the book. Right. And so so I have a lot of people that will come to me and say, I wrote this book, can you help me market it? And I'm like, well, let me, I think you might have missed half the opportunities I would have written into the plan, but you got one of them a minute ago, which was you have other people's stories in there. So those are your marketing allies, which is important. So when you talk about it, like they're some of the feet on the ground that can help you get this book out into other people's hands. The other question I have is do you have a business or an offer on the back end?
No.
Like, or the book is okay. So the reason I asked that is, and the reason we as my team, we only work with business owners is because the money from book sales is the profit from book sales is the lowest form of profit. Right. So I don't know what your publishing agreement is. All of our publishers own their own book and they own their own rights and they own their own royalties. So they get the maximum profit for every book. Dena buys her book from the printer at the same price if I were buying it. Like she doesn't owe me a penny on any one of the thousands of books that she has sold. And so that means she has the maximum amount of profit, but that's still like the lowest form of profit for her. It's nice money. I mean, we don't, it's fun. It goes, right, when she stands on stage and people are buying 5 or 10 at a time, that's some good money, right? But that's not what she's there for. The money is when people pay her thousands of dollars to coach with her, right? Or $5,000 to $10,000 to speak on a stage. That's where the money is. So your marketing budget has to come from somewhere, right? So marketing a book is effectively a part-time business when you're done, it's said and done. Right. So nobody, just because you put it on Amazon, nobody's going to find it unless it's a really like actually, Olive, your book, I don't know if she's still on here or not, but Olive and the Google, the keyword lupus will help her rise to the top 10. But so some people will find it and that will really help her. But really nobody's thinking about your book unless you're out there talking about it. If you don't have a business on the back end financially, it's very hard to sustain that long term. Right. So then you have to get really creative about different ways to get it out there and look for partners, but it's a part-time job. Right. So so the reason it works for a business owner is because it's also their number one objective and there's a higher ROI. Like trying to sell 1 or 2 books at a time and make $5 to $10, like the advice there's a ton of really bad advice out there for authors. And it's great advice if you haven't got any better use of your dollar, your time, but a business owner has really important use of their time. And so we specialize in that niche. Dena, add to that. What do you know about Bobby and what you would say?
This is for anybody. The marketing, when you finish the book, it's been this big, long journey and you're like, whoa, I'm done. It's like, no, that's the beginning is when you have the books in your hand. It's like, now what? It's the marketing of the book and utilizing the book, how you want to utilize it. And everybody's a little different, but I would say this, if you don't have a business that's connected to the book, which I think the majority of people here have some kind of business or training or something like that, but it's all about your audience. For me, I am a member of AARP and when I think of your book, Bobby, I'm thinking that would be an amazing feature article in the AARP magazine and getting it in the AARP world. I mean, there's not a bigger organization with your demographic. That's it for me. So I would try getting on their podcast, getting in their newsletter, pitching, to do an article on you, getting you in front of that audience. And the book in front of that audience, again, because you don't have a business or training or anything like that connected to the book. It's just about the book. You're really selling the book and the inspiration of the book. So that's what I would say in front of and it's so important in front of your target market. That's the key to book marketing. I try to get my book in front of my champagne and wine clients, which are business owners that have 3 to 100 employees. That's my ideal. Some are bigger, some are smaller, but that's what I'm trying to get my book in front of. Online, offline, on stages, on podcasts, like all the ways, but it's all about your target market that drives your marketing. So Marilyn, did you have another question?
I was actually just going to comment on Olive, but I don't think she's here anymore. But just in case somebody has anything to say about Olive, we talked about a little bit of this before in the one-on-one or the VIP is Olive mentioned that her story and the title of her book, that it might be limiting or whatever to her, but if anybody's in that same category, something Nicole said earlier is that story might end up being like a third of the book
and what you do with that captivated audience at then to take them to a whole nother level that another book hasn't done. And I think in the medical world, if she's already caught their attention over healing from a disease, and then now can take them on a whole nother journey of inspiration, building them back up, something like you do, Dena. I just wanted to add that comment that the story seems like the book, but it might be a third of it, and you're taking it to a whole nother level.
Awesome.
Wonderful. Any other questions for Dena, for anybody before we go? We've had some in the chat, but Jim does. Let's hear it, Jim.
Jim's a talker. I love that idea about the QR code, Dena. That is so mighty. I just because my book's going to be interactive like that. I'm gonna give them so much to start, but they might want a little more. And oh gosh, that's magic. It's mad. I love you.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you
Good.
for that.
Good. I love today, you guys, we have so many options to use our book in interactive way. QR codes just change the game. So putting a QR code in your book that goes to, again, like a 5 or 10 minute video or deeper training with you, or a quiz or a workbook, or I don't know, I mean, it's endless, but creating that engagement with people is just like, I mean, it's now at our fingertips. We can work that in. So don't miss those opportunities. And I love, the one page book plan in Scottsdale. What day? September 27th?
September 27th. Yep.
7th. Yeah. So, bringing all those ideas, and that day is going to be all about brainstorming and strategy. And I just think it's brilliant. I mean, I'm sitting here going, Nicole, how have we not done this before? I mean, it's just brilliant having one day just committed to you brainstorming and strategizing your book and your plan and all these ideas and getting out of spinning and pulling it down to clarity. Are you kidding me? I feel so dumb that we have not created this before, but it's created now, and we can do it. So
yeah, we've got the ability. All right. Okay, gang. Thank you so much. We're going to be back tomorrow. Join us tomorrow. We have Amy Carney, another Scottsdale woman, amazing woman. Amy Carney wrote Parent on Purpose. She is the mom of 6. She is also school board president now, right? So, and Amy just gets stuff done and lives a no excuses life. So we're going to talk about how she manages her time, her decisions, and her passions and her purposes, and helps other people do that as well. So if you've been using excuses on things, like Amy will help you break that tomorrow. So another amazing woman. Fun stories about that tomorrow. So Dena, thank you so much for joining us and bringing it today. And the comments have been really fun. So I appreciate that and appreciate you. Everybody, see you tomorrow. Thanks. Take care. Bye.
Can I ask a quick question?
Oh, I'm sorry, Tracy, please. Yeah, go
It's
for
okay. So are all the authors that we've met this week, are they going to be part of both the online and the Scottsdale experience?
No, they're only going to be part of the Scottsdale experience. So the online version.
Excited? I like to see your
they will not.
excitement. Love your energy. It's like
No,
clarity is just.
There we go. Yes, they will not be part of the virtual version, only the in-person version.
Oh,
So
okay.
they may show up, but yes, they yeah, I can't keep stealing their time. They have businesses that they
Sure.
gotta run. So yeah, that's why you should join us in person. Marilyn.
A quick question.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, I do have a bunch of employees down in Haiti, and I have employees here with a nonprofit. I have just hired my a personal assistant, and she was an employee down in Haiti, but I helped her to figure out who she is. I would love for her to come to help me because she knows who I am. Is that possible for me to do, even though I've already signed up for Scottsdale? And I know you said that you could have somebody who's employed.
Yeah.
So I could include her, but how would I do that?
I just dropped Nadia's email in the chat. Just email Nadia and say that you want to add a guest. So
Okay.
if you have an employee or a spouse, you can bring that for that person for $297.
Okay.
So yeah, just grab her a seat and bring her with you. That's really wise. If you've got a marketing assistant, someone who's going to
Yes,
help,
she is.
that would be really wise to bring her. I'm bringing my whole team. So yeah. And let me tell you,
Okay.
that's not cheap.
All right.
And
Thank
they
you.
like nice food. So they're going to cost me a lot of money for this trip, but we're coming. So
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
yeah, I'm glad you asked. Anyone else? Look, all of you that just stay and don't want to miss anything. You're so good. All right. We'll see you tomorrow. We're going to go in more depth into what the workshop is tomorrow and what we're going to be doing. So you'll have some more of those answers and we're going to meet Amy. So we'll see you there. Take care. Bye.